welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Hey, good evening guys. How's everybody tonight? Good evening, good evening. I'm gonna bring the Army List show back next Sunday. So I usually kick off like, what, 9:45, like an hour before here. Next Sunday, I think I'm bringing the Army List show back. Do I know what's a good army yet? For the new, whatever. What's it called? Arts of Omen? Do I know what a good army list is for Arts of Omen? The answer is no. I did win first place today, though, for the team event. Using an army list I'd never played before. So, I mean, that's cool, right? It's a little bit smudged. Is it any better? I won this, which is pretty fucking cool. I don't even know what it is. It's it's pretty fucking big, actually. It looks like it has clone troopers inside it. Clone troopers or Empire? I think it's Empire. Galactic Empire. I wasn't really going to make Empire units, but I mean, I'll make this at some point. Why not? That was a cool prize. Oh. So yeah, we'll bring back the Blood Angels Army show next Sunday night. That's my plan. It's always hard for me to do an army list show, especially after like just a whole weekend of tournaments. I don't know how you guys feel about it. But like, I'm not even 40k'd out because I was thinking a bit about the tournament after. Like, I'm not even. I don't know. I mean, it's more like I just don't have the mental willpower to go and break people's army lists down tonight. So I got some Blood Angels pieces here, and we're going to be making a conversion. And I'm glad I actually have a spare Sanguinary Guard banner here as well. I'm curious to see where Iron Hands end, says Turkey. Iron Hands are going to be so strong. Andrew's wanting to run Iron Hands against me on Wednesday night, so I need to build a Blood Angels list to fight Iron Hands. I don't know if... I really don't think the list I made would be good against Iron Hands, and Death Company just die so fucking fast now, man. Like, they died fast before, they die so fucking fast now. And I took photos of all my games, and I took all my scores, so I can break everything down, and that's hopefully what I'll be working on this week. So yeah, it's almost depressing how fast Marines die now. Congratulations on the win, says Jim. Thanks, Jim. Good evening, sellers. No music tonight? Oh, good point. I'm hearing music. How about now? Infernal pistols for everyone. In theory, I agreed with the free infernal pistols and stuff. In practice, what I saw this weekend was infernal pistols in squads aren't really as valuable as you think they will be. They're really not. Just because they only get one attack, right? So even if you've got 5 guys, you don't get many attacks. I don't think we can count them in Marines having any durability to 10th. Yeah, I mean, the things that stood out to me, the things that, like, my MVPs at this event were things that had invulnerable saves. Like, my Contemptor Dreadnought was so much better than my Redemptor, because it's got an invulnerable save. My Impulsor did so much better because it's got an invulnerable save. My Blade Guard, it's just like, I hate to say it, but it feels like invulnerable saves are king. And obviously this event people weren't even spec'd for Armor of Contempt because they knew it had gone away. But like, what typically happened at the event was like people would hit, you know, like Tau Plasma, that's -4. So anything they shoot, you're just not going to get a save unless you've got an invulnerable. So, I mean, Crisis Suits are just brutalizing Marines. And they're 3 damage each, so even if you got Feel No Pain, you're still getting brutalized. Did you bring the Volcon? I brought what I think is the best build for that Volcon Contemptor, which is 1-arm Volcon, the Cyclone Missile Launcher, and then I wanted to take the Chain Fist, but Chain Fist's more points, so I just had the Dreadnought Combat Weapon. Yeah, I have a scan in the morning as well for my broken arm, so hopefully, oh, that was sore. I don't think I'm ready to get the cast off, but hopefully they're going to say something positive. Why do you hate invulnerables becoming king? Just because a lot of our core units don't have invuns, Chris. You know, like Sanctuary Guard and Death Company, which are arguably in our most core units, they don't have invuns. But then, even like just regular troops, infiltrators are a little bit better because the Helix Gauntlet gives them quite a lot of survivability, and people forget about the Helix Gauntlet from turn to turn. Yeah, and another thing that I hate playing at events is army. Well, I just hate playing in general. Is armies where everything in that army fights first. That's horrific for us to deal with. If you think how like strong fight first / fight last is, and then you give a whole army fight first, I don't like that in terms of balance. I've been trying Corbulo and TTS, and he's mad rather than just having the Sangre Priest. The strength of the Sangre Priest is his speed, right? Like at the event I was at, I usually spent like 2 turns giving Assault Doctrine with the Priest, and then he would probably join the Blade Guard Veterans. The Whirlwind can essentially be essential, but still, if you fight into a fight first army, you get countered so hard as Blood Angels. Like I had a game today against Votan, I think in turn 3, no, it was turn 2, sorry. I had a charge, like, these are my successful charges. I had a charge with Lamartes, I had a charge with 1 Death Company, I had a charge with another Death Company, I had a charge with like a group of Incursors, and I had a charge with Blade Guard Veterans. So like the strength of Blood Angels is, you do that, they only have one interrupt. So, but then if their whole army has fight first, I don't know how. And here's the thing, their whole army having fight first might have not been that powerful before, but with loss of armor contempt, is horrific. Like, Death Company will die to just about anything now. Toughness 4 Marines with a 3-up save just die like they're fucking wearing paper, man. It's crazy. And against the Votan, like, Votan's frag grenades are -2. So like suddenly you've got frag grenades just killing Marines like left, right, or center. A lot of armies don't have invuln saves. Yeah, but I think I was gonna say, are the most meta ones have invuln saves? I don't know. I just think invuln saves are gonna be king now. Marines have like no staying power. When I break down my game against Tau, you'll get a laugh because the Tau player honestly finished the game with, let's say, 70% of his army on the table. And I finished with 3 units. I mean, I just won the game from scoring, but it was just it was like a shooting gallery for the Tau. It's ridiculous. Do I like Inceptors? No, I don't think I'm going to buy any Inceptors. I don't know why, just every time I use them, they underperform for me. Dark Angels are beatable for us. Dark Angels are definitely beatable. But yeah, okay. Good evening anyway. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. So, I mean, I'll get a video about the event and my army out this week. Probably, but I've got other... I need to figure out a list for Wednesday night. I might just run my event army, but, like, unfortunately my Arcs of Omen book didn't come yet. I guess there was a backlog of stock or something, so I don't have my Arcs of Omen book. Are the Blade Guard better in this meta now? I almost think they're going to be needed in this meta now. Impulsors are possibly almost going to be needed as well, because you need something that will just soak up firepower, and you cannot put Toughness 3 Marines onto an objective anymore. Like, you just can't. They will die. They'll get mopped up. Unless you're willing to commit like 15 Toughness 3, Toughness 4, unless you're willing to commit like 15 Marines onto an objective, then you can't hold objectives. Like, by a minimum MSU size unit will 100% like die to any enemy if you put them on objective. Like, yeah, they just die. It's as simple as that, really. Unless you're going to spend like 2 CP to transhuman in them in smokescreen, and even then, I don't know if they're that survivable. Benno says, thought that was the BA way, but get tabled. I prefer not to have 3 models left at the end of the game and the opponent have their whole fucking army on the board, Benno. I mean, Terminators with Storm Shields, yeah, I had some out actually the other night. I don't remember if these were Blood Angels Terminators or if these were ones that I just put Blood Angels bits onto. But yeah, I think Terminators with Storm Shields are gonna get a lot more value, or a lot more play now. Live dangerously. That game against Tau is gonna give me fucking nightmares, honestly. It was ridiculous. Basically, we were playing Abandoned Sanctuaries. I went first, and there was no train on the board, or there was no train in the middle of the board. Should we lean more into aggression or try to be more defensive? I don't think we have the defensive units to be more defensive. Someone was talking about like an Impulsor with 5 Blade Guard, which is like the same points as like 9 Sangre Guard. Like, what's better? If you need to hold objectives, like, it's tough, man. I don't know. Tower's already bad with Armor of Contempt without it. If you have no saves. Yeah, they had a Crisis Bubble and Riptide and Broadside. Yeah, I mean, and there was no terrain to hide behind on the middle objectives. So everything was just getting marker lighted and shot to fuck, I guess. I hate Abandoned Sanctuaries at events. I don't know why you would have it on... It cripples me. Like, Abandoned Sanctuaries into Tau and going first is like horrific. It might be okay if I go second. The last 2 times I've been at an event, I've had Abandoned Sanctuaries and I've had to go first. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. Okay, don't judge me. This is sacrilege. I'm going to do a conversion tonight. Or I'm going to start on one. He's going to be a Blood Angel. Or he's getting Blood Angel's pieces on him. He's not staying as Black Templars, that's for sure. It's pretty cool there's a dead orc on his base though, isn't it? But I think Black Templars and Iron Hands and maybe even Dark Angels, Ravenwing more so than Terminators maybe, are going to be crazy strong. The game I had against Dark Angels was very, very difficult actually, but I could have beaten them. If the Impulsor... Well, the difference is, on sometimes you just need to... Here's why my list sort of worked, because I ran 2 Dreadnoughts, the Whirlwind, the Impulsor. I had one more piece of armor, I think. 2 Dreadnoughts, the Whirlwind, Impulsor, and a Land Speeder. And I think that... Well, like, so I played Votann, and again, like, there's an objective in the middle of the board that had no cover on it. So if I didn't have the Dreadnoughts, the Impulsor, and in one game I even threw the Whirlwind onto an objective that was out of cover, like, what are you putting on the objective that can hold it? Because I do like the sticky objectives for Marines. That's actually really powerful. That helped me win the game against Tau, because I just started sticking all the objectives and then fucking off them. So if you sticky the objective and then you move back into cover, you know, you can have the objective that's out of cover and control it, which is cool. That's one thing that helped Marines, I think. That helped a lot. As cheap as Terminators are now, they have a ton of 4... Yeah, I mean, Deathwing's transhuman is generally pretty difficult to deal with. I did mop up a few squads of Deathwing with Death Company with hammers. So Death Company with hammers probably still have some legs in terms of like competitive play, but they get treated like it used to be. The Death Company could maybe 1 or 2 of them might survive some sort of counter fight, and then you could still do some work with the Death Company. That's not true anymore. The Death Company get wiped all the time, and sometimes they even lose like multiple models from Overwatch as well, which is rough. Hey Dutster, thank you so much for becoming a member. I don't have it. The only reason that I've got Black Templars Rizio is because I wouldn't have to buy anything. All the models that I wanted to run in Black Templar list would be something that I already own. Could easily switch out. I'm undecided. I really am undecided with like what the, you know, someone just a minute ago was asking like, do we still need 400 points of shooting for Blood Angels? I don't know if we need 400 points of shooting as much as we need like 400 points of stuff that can actually sit on objectives and take fire. Because if you can't hold objectives, you can't get any points. And to me, that seems like the biggest problem. Space Wolves are a dark horse. I fought Space Wolves this weekend. Okay. I don't think they're overly problematic. The Thunderwolf Cavalry are really nice and do a lot of damage, but they're still expensive. I think they're still like 45 points a model, and then their Terminators are fine, but I mean they're weaker than Deathwing Terminators, I guess. I always think Space Wolf Dreadnoughts with those shields are really good, but we don't see too many of them run. But again, Dreadnoughts -1 damage if they have an invulnerable save. I think that's good. Yeah, Gav had to fight a list that had 45 Deathwing Terminators in it. Was it 45 Deathwing? They were all just Deathwing Terminators, right? 3 Cyclone Missile Launchers, all Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. played 2 games against Grey Knights since Arcs of Omen, and got wrecked pretty hard twice. Their interceptors mop up my elites so easily. Smites and DK shooting doesn't help either. Any tips for the... any tips for MU? I don't know what MU means. Our elites do get mopped up, like, very, very quickly now. I was doing... so today's event, or yesterday's event, or today and yesterday's event, was still using the old secondaries from Nephilim. And I didn't really score maybe more than like 10 or 11 points for Fury of the Lost but once. Whereas before it was a bit easier than Fury of the Lost, because like each Death Company unit could potentially survive and like kill a couple. Now they just get traded away so quickly, so even if Fury of the Lost had stayed, I know they've removed it, I think it would have been much more difficult to score. Soul Warden will help against incoming mortals, but I mean it's not going to be great. Interceptors are the Grey Knights with the power swords, if I remember correctly, and they were difficult to deal with before. It really does make me feel like invulnerable saves are king, and one of the reasons that I think that is, like, see my units that had invulnerable saves, like, so like you go to an event, right, and you play 5 games over 2 days, right? And obviously in 5 games in 2 days, if you imagine every unit in your army has 5 lives then, right? Because like they're gonna fight 5 times and they're probably gonna die or win 5 times. Quick says, what HQ would recommend for a 1,000 point list? Probably like a captain with a jump pack, infernal pistol, relic blade, and or captain on a bike with a thunderhammer, something like that. Yeah, Inceptors are the ones with a 12-inch move and the 2 damage weapon. I mean, that's very difficult to deal with, bottom line. Grey Knights have gone in and out of the meta this last 6 months or whatever. But yeah, anything that can do 2 damage and is going to wound Marines and like hit and wound on 3s into Marines and has a lot of attacks. Like, -3 and -4 EP now feel horrific to deal with. Like, absolutely horrific. For elite models that you're spending like 30 plus points on, that you're just not getting a save on, and even to a certain extent, Redemptors not getting a save, kind of feels horrific. Where's my... Because, yeah, so like... What was I trying to say? What did I drop on the floor? Yeah. If you have, if you imagine all your guys have 5 lives, like, over the event, then, you know, like, 2 or 3 times over this event, like, I had a Redemptor and a Relic Contemptor Dreadnought, right? So, like, the Redemptor gets hit with, like, Tau Plasma, so -4, 3 damage a shot. Like, cool, no save. Just goes straight through on its armor. And there was a few things that did that, like Votan, straight through the Redemptor's armor. Ultimately, the Redemptor died. I was going to say, did the Redemptor die in every game? I think it might have. I think the Redemptor might have died in every game. And then you look at the Relic Contemptor that I'm running, that's 5 points cheaper. Yes, it costs a CP to include, but you've got that 5 up invulnerable save on it. So it definitely survived against the Votan. Against the Dark Angels, I think one round of combat, one round of shooting, he shot his entire army at this Relic Contemptor, and I guess I spiked the save, right? And that's the thing about, like, having an invulnerable save is, if you have the invulnerable save, you have a chance to spike it. And I guess what I mean by spike is, like, roll hot, right? You know, you can never... If you have no save at all, you can never, quote-unquote, roll hot on it. Yeah, you can roll like shit, but, you know, I had a Relic Contemptor take, like, I don't know, like, 10 different units shot at it. I spiked some saves, like, or maybe, like, you know, when you shooting like missiles or meltas at it, I spiked and rolled 5s, and then when you shooting like 1 damage weapons at it, I failed to save. So it did take some damage, and it did ultimately die. But like I spiked the saves at the right point because I have a solid enough 5-up invulnerable save, right? And in a way, I think over like the course of so like it happened in like 2 games or something, and then it happened one time with the Blade Guard where like, you know, 13 saves on 4-up or something, and I roll 11 saves, and it's 2 damage a weapon, so I only lose 1 Blade Guard veteran to like 13 wound rolls. Nathan says, I haven't played a game using Arcs Foeman yet, but I'm wondering if Helverins are now good options, seeing that Armor of Contempt is gone, and seeing that pretty mobile unit with invulnerable seems good. I mean, yes, and Helverins are also counts as OBSEC, counts as 5 models. I was speaking to Gav today actually, and Gav is my teammate that basically carried me to the victory at this event. I think Gav won all 5 of his games convincingly, and what was I going to say about that? He was saying that he thinks Helverins are going to be a good addition to Marine armies. If you're struggling to figure out like what is going to be good shooting for Marine armies, then it's probably one of your best options is going to be Helverins. Is AP -1 viable? If you've got enough shots, it is. Except maybe Votan, sure. Votan are a weird one though, like, because they've only got that like half roster or whatever you want to call it, like, you know, they don't really have a full release of or a full range of models yet, right? There's like 15 different things that they can run. Votan just feel in a bit of a weird place. So like if you think that like I took a Redemptor and I took a Relic Contemptor, and I honestly think over the event the Relic Contemptor was a lot better. The Volkites are just better than the Onslaught Cannon, and like the Rocket Pods and Stormbolt are probably. The Fist, yes, it does less damage on the Relic Contemptor, but honestly, the Redemptor never really gets to combat anyway because it's got no invulnerable save now, so people just kill it before you can really get it across the board. And I mean, something has to be out there like showing face on objectives, because your Marines are just going to get killed off the objectives. So that's kind of probably what your Redemptor is going to be doing. But the other advantage of the Relic Contemptor is it's got 9 wounds, so it's got no bracket, right? So like even on 1 wound, it's still shooting at full strength. And I actually despise weapons with like the plasma on the Redemptor Dreadnought being D6 shots is like, it's horrific in tournament play, because like it's so spiky, right? Like, you know, it's almost like, hey, at the start of the game when you need a lot of shots, you're going to roll 1, and CP rerolls for the number of shots on a weapon like that to me feels like one of the lowest value ways you can spend your CP. Whereas like at the end of the game when you don't need a lot of shots, you're going to spike like a 5. I generally hate plasmas on the Redemptor just because of like how spiky that macro plasma is. I think it's the better weapon option than the bolt gun, whatever it's called, the heavy onslaught cannon, because I don't think the heavy onslaught cannon is very versatile at all. But God, do I hate that plasma. So I just think that Relic Contemptors are definitely better. The Volkite's better, the Crack Missile is probably just better. I mean, the Redemptor's a big target and people go after it. And then another thing is, yeah, 1 wound, the Relic Contemptor is still operating on full profile. So and also it's got more range. So you can outrange stuff as well. You got 45-inch range on those Volkites. Leviathan Dreadnoughts would be nice if they went down in points. They won't go down in points, I guess, because they're actually crazy good for Iron Hands now, right? Because Iron Hands will hit. They don't care that they're not core. They hit on 3s. They reroll 1s. Do you think the Sangre Ancient is still worth taking? Yeah, I mean, I do think that the +2 to movement and the +1 to hit are both worth taking. I just don't know how you really take them now because, well, I mean, unless we go back to a situation where like people are running, let's say, because I used to do it. I used to run like 1 squad of Sangre Guard, 1 squad of Death Company, 1 squad of Vanguard Veterans. And then I think I might have run Blade Guard and Terminators. So like, you have those fast, hard-hitting mobile units, but at the same time, you also need the durable units. So maybe that's what. But I didn't run the Sang Ancient to this event, but I had been running him in my list up until like, I guess like a week ago or 10 days ago, whenever the Balance Data Slate came out, right? So he was in my list. I was running the Sangre Ancient, 2 squads of Sandguard, and 3 squads of Death Company until like whenever it was last week. Last week, something like that, right? Caleb said that the Sangre Ancient did awesome for him at the weekend. I mean, he's a buff character, right? But if you're going to run Thunderhammers, it is nice to have the +1 to hit to make up for their -1 to hit, because it does make a big difference in terms of like their damage output. Hitting on 3s re-rolling against hitting on 4s re-rolling, it just feels a lot more reliable. So I do still like that Sangre Ancient. I do also think that the 14-inch move is, I was going to say, I don't think that's critical, but I think it is very useful. Yeah, you're saying +1 to hit is good. I guess you're right, Quake Bolts could counter the Sangre Ancient as banner, but CP are also kind of like, is it in demand is the way of saying CP? I always feel like I don't have that many CP, because if you're going to use Suppression Fire a bunch, and I think we have to, especially into some armies, we have to use Suppression Fire a bunch, right? Anyone play Empire's Children? I dodged them today, actually. I think it's a horrendous matchup for us Foz, especially if they've got all fight first. Any army that has all fight first is a horrendous matchup for Blood Angels. I was actually saying to someone at the event today, I was like, hold on a minute, why the fuck are Blood Angels not all fight first? We're like a melee orientated chapter. You get slagged off. I mean, I've been slagged off for my Blood Angels lists before, like putting Dreadnoughts in them. People would be like, you're Blood Angels, how dare you put some Dreadnoughts in your list? So if people are gonna like like, we should have all fight first. If that's what it comes down to, I guess. But yeah, fight first chapters, or I mean, Eldar have the way of all fight first. It's horrific for Blood Angels. We have +1 to advance, charge, and wound, which actually probably isn't that strong, because if you ever come up against an enemy that has transhuman, then the most powerful part of your chapter tactic, the +1 to wound, disappears. And not many chapters get their chapter tactic nullified, right? Like, it's not like it's not like the chapter tactic of other chapters can really be nullified like our one can be. Maybe, just my opinion. Not many chapters of a chapter tactic as us, though. Are you paying attention to current meta, Atlas? We're gonna be down the pecking order for a little while, I think. Chapters that are gonna be stronger than us that are gonna be like Iron Hands, Black Templars, Dark Angels, maybe even Deathwatch as well. So like we're pretty far down the pecking order this next 6 months, I think. Because we want to take fast unit close combat monster units or models, but they're not going to be survivable anymore, and arguably it's going to force us to have some sort of hybrid. I just don't know. Do you think Dark Angels are actually number one? I think Iron Hands are going to be number one for the next while. So I ran no Sangre Guard this weekend. Did I miss them? Maybe only a couple of times when it was like I could have heroic intervened if I had a unit in the backfield that was like Sangre Guard. But Fury of the Lost is gone, so arguably you could stop running as many Death Company models. But I think there's a clear reason to still run Death Company, and that is the 3 damage Thunderhammers, right? I think that's what they've got going over Sangre Guard. Even if you put like Power Fists on Sangre Guard and stuff, it's the 3 damage from the Death Company that make them like I didn't want to say more viable, because maybe, I don't know. I had a lot of times today as well when people hit the Death Company with like -4. So it's just like, alright, so just no save, straight through their armor, we're just rolling Feel No Pains, and when you're rolling like 3 Feel No Pains, and you need to make 2 6s to keep 1 guy alive and 1 wound, pretty rough. I don't think there was any AdMech players at the event that I was at, actually. Dark Angels Assault Terminators look very worrying. Yeah, I played a list with like 25 Assault Terminators in it. I think I killed all of them, but like a couple. It was very close, actually. But it probably took an overcommitment. It was rough. Crozier said, what is the sweet spot of the amounts of Death Company and Sangre Guard? I was running 3 Sangre Guard and 2 Death Company, but it feels like I'm lacking shooting. So I was running 3 Death Company and 2 Sangre Guard. I think probably, and I mean, I could be wrong. Did I play against Custodes? Yeah, I played Custodes and their whole army fought first. Jim, it was brutal. Inks, welcome back. You missed it. I won a tournament this weekend. Thank you for the gifted sub. If anyone didn't check it at the start of the stream, I won something. Yay! I know it's a team event. I still want to win a GT. But maybe this is... I was thinking about this after I'd got home. I was like, maybe this puts a little bit less pressure on me now at my next solo event, because I actually have won an event now. We'll see. Dutster's saying, I think 2 Sangre Guard, 2 Death Company, 2 Thunderhammer Terminators. I think in one of the games this weekend, the Impulsor was 100% my MVP. Because on certain maps, there's just going to, like... I don't know what it's like at you guys' tournaments. But if you ever have gone to a tournament and you've looked at the terrain before the game and you've thought, thanks so much for the congratulations, guys, I appreciate it. If you've ever looked at the terrain and thought, that isn't enough terrain, or I feel like I'm going to have a rough game because there's not enough terrain on this board. If you've ever had that, then the way I see it right now is like 9th edition is sort of ridiculously killy in terms of like playing Line XP at Warhammer World. Probably not this year, just because I have a 1-year-old son at the moment, and he's taking up most of my time. And when I got home today, honestly, my wife was so happy to see me because she could just get rid of the 1-year-old that wants attention all the time. So probably not for a year or so at least, unfortunately. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Like, yeah, you come onto a map and you think there's not enough terrain here, / I need to hold objectives that are out in the open. Yeah, you could do that with Terminators, but I would argue that, like, into some armies, I don't know if like, Terminators with Storm Shields are arguably better than Blade Guard veterans, right, in terms of survivability, but if you transhuman the Blade Guard veterans, which I used again today, you could argue that the Blade Guard veterans are now better than the Terminators, because statistically they can only win the Blade Guards on 4s, right? So like I had a squad of Blade Guard veterans that I transhumaned against like a shitload of Tau plasma, and they still wiped the entire squad. Right, and they were in cover as well. Not that that helped me anything because the AP still put them on the -4, but I put them in cover anyway. I had like 3 in cover, and what I had in my Impulsor was 5 Blade Guard veterans. 5 Vanguard veterans squad with 4 Power Shield and axes and a Sarge with a Relic Blade. I used to run them a lot more, Jim. I think that if you want to run jump units now, I think you probably want to run 1 Sandguard, 1 Death Company with hammers, and 1 Vanguard veterans with shields, because the shields are probably going to provide a lot of value. You could almost argue now you don't need Sandguard. They've, you know, they're probably like, if you think of a Death Company with a hammer is only 3 points more than a Sandguard, and like there's a lot more value in 3 damage hits than there is in 2 damage hits. Then you can almost argue that the Sandguard are redundant for the next 6 months, I guess. You could run Sandguard all with Infernal Pistols, and maybe that gives you a little bit more. I'm gonna file off this Black Templar shoulder piece. I think I had a big nail file. Yeah. Shane, thank you so much for the $5. 3 Infiltrators, 1 Death Company with hammers, 2 Blade Guard, and 2 Impulsors. What am I building? I'm converting Helbrecht to a Blood Angel. I'm going to get rid of some of these crosses. I do really like this helmet here, though. I think this helmet is super dope.
Shane Bell donated $5 via Super Chat. 3 INFL 1 Death Company with hammers, 2 blade, 2 impulses.
But I wasn't that tired when I sat down, but I guess I'm feeling tired now. Sometimes when you play a few games of Warhammer at the weekend, it can be quite tiring, actually. Mike says I'm running 2 Death Company, 2 minimum size units of Sangre Guard, so 4 model Sangre Guards, basically. Assault Terminators and Vanguard Veterans. My issue with those lists now is I don't know how you hold anything. Am I going to keep the assistant holding his gun? I have no idea. I know his assistant can hold his gun. Can he hold it in his hand as well? Impulsors can't transport Terminators, and they don't need to. See, like I might see if I've got a better file, actually, because that's going to take all day to file that away. I think I might have one on my windowsill, actually. I do have another file. I'm considering taking a Spartan to move my Terminator, hold down the table and shoot some. Oh, cool, okay. How many points is a Spartan and how many Terminators does it carry? Hey Joy, how you doing? I'm going to post up my speeder spam RTT list tonight for your review, John. I'll leave notes. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do a lot of speeder spam. Just do Dark Angels not do it a lot better than us? Because if they advance their speeders, and now they can stay in tactical... Sorry, now they can stay in Devastator Doctor, and they can advance their speeders and still shoot them. And if they advance the speeders, they all get 4-up and run saves. I don't know. I think Dark Angels are probably going to be pretty strong at the moment. I had a game against them and it was a close game, but yeah, I can definitely see why they'd be strong. Spartan Town Terminator
donated
420
£5
points.
via Super Chat.
420.
Greetings. Sorry I'm late to the party. First place back. Well done.
Thanks, Highland. I appreciate the money. Yeah, it was pretty cool to win my first event. I hope it'll take some pressure off future solo events as well, actually. I don't know if I could get on board with running a 420 point model at the moment. People are still playing, like, army lists are still out there like it's Armor of Contempt, or Armor of Contempt is important. So like, armor can die pretty fucking fast. With the Impulsor that I ran this weekend, it kind of went like both ways. Some games the Impulsor tanked really nicely, other games it died very quickly. So I imagine a toughness 8 unit. I was first at we were at a team event, 5 games this weekend. Gosh, I keep showing it. 1 second, I'll show it again. This. Can you read it? A little Space Marine here. Maybe you put a Space Marine on there because you knew I was going to win it. How was my arm? My arm's actually fine. I did take a painkiller both days, but just one, so overall the arm is fine. I got a scan for my arm tomorrow morning, Highland. So I'm hoping the X-ray is good. I would love to... Do you know what? I would love to have a shower. It's been 6.5 weeks since I had a shower, so... Fucking love to have a shower, man. You know, they're saying that there's like that one guy at a Warhammer event that smells really bad because he hasn't had a shower in the second day. I was like, well, I haven't had a shower in 6.5 weeks, so that'd be nice. Yeah, it's not been great, but I've got a giant cast on my arm that doesn't come off, so... I mean, I've had a shower from the waist down, so there's that. But my upper half, no. But I think that if I get a little bit more of this Templar crest off, I can put some sort of Blood Angel's wings over the top of it. Could I wrap the arm in a plastic bag? I mean, probably, possibly, but now that it's 6.5 weeks in, I probably didn't... Should have probably thought of that earlier. I think my wife actually said to me, and then they said if it got wet, I could get like sores underneath where the arm was, and I just didn't want to risk it, actually. I remember that. Because, like, I mean, it's itchy enough that it hasn't got wet, so if it got wet and I got like fucking sores and I had to wait like 6 weeks, I was like, no thank you. Not want to risk it. But yeah, no. I think Arcs of Omen. I'm honestly almost at the point where I think that I want 2 transports as Blood Angels. Like, I want 2 impulsors. Because 1 impulsor will die. Like, most armies will have enough. There's a team of 3. So basically the way that the tournament worked was just you scored your points in every game, and they're all just added up. So every victory point counted. So we actually just won it by like 17 victory points. So it's pretty darn close, actually. But I mean, Gav was playing that Knights list that I played on the channel, like, was it like 2 weeks ago I played Gav's Knights? Or I think like Friday last week I think I played Gav's Knights. I was actually super close to beating him. I only lost like by 10 points, but that Knight list that Gav has is like really good at scoring victory points. I think he got 98 in like 4 of his games. They're trying to convince people to buy Primaris transports. Well, I mean, you could do it with you could run some rhinos, maybe? I don't know what the hell you put in rhinos. So Gav won 5 of his. Well, our team won 4, lost 1. But Gav won all 5 of his games. Miles won 4 of his games. Unfortunately, I only won 3 of mine, but I scored high in all the games. So I think my losses were like 76 and like 60 or something. So not bad. One of my losses was literally decided on the final dice rolls, though, so I could have been 4-1. And like, I had no experience playing my army, because I just made a list, because I was like, oh fuck, new points. I just needed a list. I have no idea if it's going to be any use. I guess it was okay. Death Company with no jump packs? I suppose you could do Death Company with no jump packs in a Rhino. Never thought of that. We never see Death Company with no jump packs. I think that the thing is, I don't think the Rhino would survive. Like, in the games that I played today, even with a 5-up invulnerable save, unless you spike on those invulnerable saves, your Impulsor's not going to survive, because like the second they hit it on -2, everything has lost a ton of survivability. You know, like -2. Like, if you think of Votann, all their little shitty bikes, whatever they get, like, each bike gets, like, 9 shots or something, and they're all, like, -2 and 3. And yeah, they're only 1 damage, but when he's running, like, 9 bikes, how did the Whirlwind do? As normal, the Whirlwind killed nothing. It gave me some strength with its fight last, and in some of the games, I actually just had to run the Whirlwind onto an objective because my... my Marines couldn't hold any objectives, Highland Phoenix. So in one of the games, the Whirlwind, against the Tau, the Whirlwind was sat on an objective, and against the Votann, the Whirlwind, I think, was sat on an objective. Just because I needed something that could actually survive. Like, you need to hold objectives in your command phase. If you put Marines on the objective in the enemy's phase, they're usually dead by the time you get to your command phase. Alright, we got that. That Templar shoulder pad is pretty clean now. So I wonder if there's something I can put over, if I've got some sort of Blood Angels thing I can put over that. On one of these sprues. The Impulsor was... So my first game was against Space Wolves. I'd say in that game the Impulsor was almost was gonna say, yeah, I think in my game against Space Wolves, the Impulsor was probably MVP because I spiked hard on the invulnerable saves and it stuck around on an objective for like an extra turn that like it probably shouldn't have, and just provided like a distraction. Against the Votan, I got to put something out into no man's land to hold objectives again. Well, it's the Impulsor next to cover, so the second they do kill the Impulsor, because it's the Votan, they're going to kill a 7-wound vehicle. The Blade Guard can just pile out from it and land on the objective, ideally in cover and ideally obscured. So, in some ways it reminds me of like when I used to play Sisters of Battle. They used to always just have rhinos, 2 of which they just throw them up the table. And the Impulsor, for 100 points now, the Impulsor with the Shield Dome seems not bad. I mean, they're a lot better for Black Templars. But it certainly seems not bad. Should I get the Captain and Gravis? If you want to do boarding actions, maybe. If you don't care much about boarding actions, I don't know if the Captain and Gravis will get all that much play in 40k. I know you're doing a summary soon, but what are the thoughts on the ins and outs for list? I mean, that list that I ran at this event doesn't work as of, like, yesterday, I guess, because this event was still using the Fury of the Lost. We're still using the secondaries from Nakmund. They obviously go away today, which I guess probably impacts that list. Infiltrators are really good now, like really good. The Helix Gauntlet, I think, gives them a lot of strength. Could I be tempted to run 2 squads of Infiltrators? Maybe. The free Thunderhammer and Plasma Pistol on the Assault Intercessors actually felt pretty good as well. My Assault Intercessors would usually just come in from reserve and either make a charge or do an action. James says, I thought we were talking Blood Angels. What did we miss, James? Hamia? Sanding Sponge. I've never heard of that. Where can I get one, James? It's a weird one. Like, some things don't feel like they've changed much, right? For example, like a land speeder and an attack bike. I run a land speeder with a multi-melta and an attack bike with multi-melta. Those things died anyway, right? You'd run them in, you try to get a half-range multi-melta on a key character or a key unit, you'd multi-melta in the face, and then you would die anyway. So like Armor of Contempt doesn't feel like it changed anything with that unit. Essentially that unit just got cheaper and it does the exact same thing. So in some ways, some things feel like they haven't changed. But then, holding primaries now seems nightmarish for Marines. And like, I think you have to spec into something that can hold primaries. And I think that's why... So I can run 2 Impulsors. Because I have because I have a Gladiator and the Gladiator is the same chassis as the Repulsor. So you can run the Repulsor basically. Sorry, you can run the Gladiator basically as an Impulsor. I just don't know what I'd put in the second Impulsor, because unless you do like smaller squads of Blade Guard, but I mean a 5-man squad of Blade Guard is like its damage output is pretty much what a 5-man squad of Sangre Guard is, right? And like if we're talking about like the minimum size of a squad of Sangre Guard you'd want, it's probably 5, right? Like you don't want to go smaller than 5 on Sangre Guard because you might not do the damage you need to kill the thing. Don't want to have to really run out and buy more Blade Guard, personally. I've got 7 Blade Guard. Hey Wolfden, can we link in the chat? Yeah, go for it. Would a Judiciar or 2 help in those Impulsors? I mean, it would help keep the Blade Guard alive if they are getting charged. But if you're not getting charged, then I guess it wouldn't make so much difference, right? I could be tempted though to put it, like, to run a Judiciar in one for a test island, for sure. I don't know what character would drop though. 15 Blade Guard, 15 Hammer and Shield.
Lorenzo donated €10 via Super Chat. Bike Chap, Armor and Dom, Foresight, Exhort and Mantra. Sang Priest Teeth Terror, writes. Inkers, Inful, 15 Blade Vet, 15 Termi Ham Shield, Chap.
Speed of the Primarch, Blade of Triumph, 6 Inceptor Bolters, Eradicators, and one Impulsor. Yeah, I mean, I think, how have I got 7? They come in 3s. I think I made, because I got 2 sets of them Domitus box. So I think I did the 3 out of each Indomitus box, and then I converted one of the lieutenants. You know, the lieutenant that had the pistol? I think that was essentially a Blade Guard. I converted him into a Blade Guard, so I had 7. Alunda, that list seems really interesting. Thank you so much for the 10 euros. I think if you want to run all melee now, and like Blood Angel's typically going to get the most strength out of running all melee now. You're going to want something similar. So you've got 3 squads of 5 Blade Guard, you've got 3 squads of 5 Terminators, but I think the community is demanding the army list show back. I mean, I was going to start it next... Sorry, I said at the start of the stream I was going to start it next... I was going to bring it back next Sunday night. The only reason I didn't do it tonight is like I'm really tired. I didn't want to stream for too long. I've obviously been playing Warhammer like all weekend, and I still don't know if I'm fully. Well, I don't have my new book. I don't have the. My book didn't turn up. My Arcs of Omen book. I mean, maybe that's just a poor excuse, but I am generally pretty tired, so I thought I'd bring it back next Sunday if that's okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't dislike anything you said about the list. I think you should. Like, do 2 squads of Blade Guard veterans, do 2 squads of Hammer Shield Terminators. I think you do still want some fast moving killy Blood Angels units. So maybe that's why I was saying like 1 squad of Death Company, 1 squad of Sangard, or 1 squad of Death Company and 1 squad of Vanguard vets. I think Sangre Guard are the big losers here, right? Because Death Company obviously can have the 3 damage hammers. I mean, Vanguard vets in a way have the best of both worlds in that they can have a Storm Shield and a 3 damage hammer. But I think Vanguard vets with hammers are probably too expensive. So I'd probably do Vanguard vets with Storm Shields, like power swords or power. Someone said power axes earlier. I think I prefer the swords for the -3 AP. They're still strength 5, so they still wound infantry, arguably, on 2s for Blood Angels. What am I making? I'm converting Helbrecht into a Blood Angel. Someone said to me that they expected me to be drinking tonight for winning the event. I probably would be drinking if, one, if I wasn't tired, and two, if I got scanned at the doctors in the morning, and they did say when I saw them last time that I shouldn't be drinking alcohol. I did drink a little bit of alcohol over Christmas though, right? A squad of Hammer Vets and Thunderhammer Storm Shields cost 190 points. Yeah, it's too expensive, man. The Blade Guard Lieutenant is an easy conversion since he had the shield anyway. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why I did him as a. Plus, I already had the lieutenant out the other box, right? And I didn't really think I needed 2 lieutenants, I guess. So pre-AOC axes and Sanguinary Guard were great. So with Armor of Contempt gone, I figure axes on the Vanguard veterans. Axes and swords are very interchangeable for me, really. Axes are decent enough. I guess with Armor of Contempt being gone, maybe they get a little... Axes, I feel like axes definitely get better with Armor of Contempt being gone. Do I feel like swords might still be the way to go though? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably interchangeable on that. So if you do run like 5 Vanguard Vets with power axes and storm shields, I do think that's probably still pretty decent. It's in reality it's almost no weaker than swords. It's like potato or tomato, if that makes sense. What about splitting Vanguard veterans with Thunderhammer, Storm Shields, and Twin Lightning Claws? I mean, you can probably put a few Thunderhammers in your Vanguard veteran squad. And then some cheaper weapon options, like you could do some with Thunderhammers and some with power axes. That's probably an okay shout. Yeah, it's probably actually an okay shout. Will I make a new secondaries flowchart? Yeah, I mean, it'll be much different, I guess. I'll probably wait until there's some tournament data so that we can actually put like numbers in it, because I got the numbers from the last flowchart from like actual tournament data. Like, it wasn't just a flowchart based on what I think is best, like it was actually showing what people scored in events and stuff like that. How do I feel about Arcs of Omen so far? I feel like it's changed a lot. I wasn't a huge fan of like the 3 Death Company, 3 Sandguard being the only viable build for Blood Angels, and like everyone just having to be forced to run that. Do I feel like Blood Angels are highly competitive at the moment? I think the jury's out on that one. I think there's probably competitive Blood Angels builds, but I think it's going to take a while for people to find them. And I think it's going to be tricky because the full melee builds that we've seen that were like so fast and also durable are probably just not an option anymore. It's like you be fast or durable, you can't be both. Blood Angels are B tier, I bet. I think they're probably going to be middle of a pack, Rezio. There's transhumans out there. There's lists that make everything fight last, fight first out there. There's lists that do psychic a lot better than us. We still have an issue where Mephistone really needs a +1 to cast. which kind of, although he got points drops, he's probably still not viable in tournament play. But I mean, I think Blood Angels have been B-ish tier for like... I don't know if we ever really moved into A tier. Even when we could do that like Sanguinary Guard Death Company skew list. There's still a lot of things that can counter us and beat us very easily. Like Tyranids could just wipe the floor with that list. A D3 plus 3 blade on Mephiston, says Zach. Yeah, that's what we need. I'll be in heaven when if Mephiston ever gets a D3 plus 3 blade, I will. Then I'll be drinking. Then we'll be drinking everything. Jeez, oh, I don't think we'll ever see that, honestly. At 47% we stole a lot of events. We did steal a few events, that is very true. But I still think that we weren't actually that strong, and there was really only like 1 or 2 viable builds. Like, the builds were all just very similar variants on each other, right? So things have changed. It's probably good that things have changed. Maybe a little bit frustrating if, like me, you just bought more Death Company and more Sangard and made them all. But there's also rumours of a Blood Angels refresh, isn't there? And we probably need a refresh in terms of like getting more of our models to be Primaris. Shit, where was that supposed to be stuck? It's supposed to be in the back? Yeah. Okay, I'll just let that dry for a minute. Hey Mike, what am I building? Hellbrick. I'm trying to convert him into a Blood Angel. I love this helmeted face though. See that one there? I think that helmeted face is super cool. Maybe you can see it better on the box art. This face here. I think that's dope. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like, so I got to the top table of a GT with Blood Angels when Blood Angels weren't in a great place, but I ran like what was meta for Marines, which was like those double Volcon Contemptors. So I ran a list that was actually like, I think my list was Terminators, Sanguinary Guard times 1, I ran the 2 Volkites, and maybe it was Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields. Oh, Inks, dude, you're back, giving all the gifted subs. Thank you so much, Inks. It's always super appreciated. Thank you. And yeah, everybody that's gifted sub, please, you guys get access to our members only Discord, so come on over and say hello, please. You're more than welcome. You treat the chat like it's a hobby if it's great. Yeah, you very much do treat the chat like it's a hobby. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So I think, yeah, I think it's a good thing that like those skew builds are gone. a bunch of people have been asking me, like, are ball predators viable now? I think I probably in the next few weeks want to do a build or run Blood Angels with some predators, maybe. If holding objectives and stuff is one of the most difficult things that we can do now, you could do worse than 110 point darkness 7, 11 wounds on a ball predator or something like that. You could just sit on an objective. I'm building Hellbrick. A lot of people keep asking. High Marshal Hellbrick. I'm gonna convert him into a Blood Angel because I'm gonna paint him red. He's gonna be a Blood Angel. 100%. He's got a actually a pretty cool instruction book. I'll get to paint like my first orc in like 20 years because there's a dead orc on his base. I actually do I have a green for orc? What colour do you paint orc flesh? I never really paint green except warpstone green in my model's eyes, actually. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try and fish Blood Angels pieces off other models and stuff to make them much more Blood Angels. That is the plan. I already filed off this shoulder pad. Because he had a Black Templar. He's like a Templar cross on that shoulder pad. It's not perfectly filed off, but it's good enough. I'm going to stick something over it. I think I'm going to stick one of these wings that you get in like the Death Company boxes over the top. I'd show you, but it's really hard to show you with broken arm. I've got these little wings. You see them? They're the ones I'm talking about. The ones that come in. They're like, I think they're for like the lapels on Death Company. I'm thinking I'll stick one like that or something over where the High Templar thing was. I think that'll work. I don't think he has anything else on that shoulder that'll obscure. And then he's got this skull thing on his back here, which is like, it's almost like one of those things you see on like the Blade Guard or the Primaris. I think I'll see if I can find like a Blood Angel wing thing, like off like a Sangre Guard sprue or something. Reserve the Ball Predator to not get killed turn 1 and flame the crap out of people. The problem is we're gonna have to. I think the problem is if you've got objectives in the open now, what are you holding them with? You might need to trim some of that wing so it's hidden under the cape. I might. I mean, it might be a bit of a rough and ready conversion, I guess. Thing is, if I do a good paint job, it'll probably be okay. Have I had a chance to look at boarding actions yet? Says Inks. I have not, but we're doing a 3 Grots episode on it next week, and I'm trying to find someone that's going to commission to paint up a set of the terrain for boarding actions for me. So once I figure that out, because I'm always painting my models. I actually can't really even paint very effectively at the moment because of my broken arm. So once I figure out someone that can commission, that I can commission to paint boarding actions for me, I'm wanting to do it, Inks, for sure. I think we could even maybe try and make some sort of campaign out of it, because I think it would sort of lend itself to Crusade very nicely, and I've never done Crusade, and I think after the GT that I do in March, I'm probably gonna have to take a break from GTs for like, because I just did one in November, and then I did one this weekend, and I'm doing one in March. I think it's a bit like, I think I need to give like a 6-month break on GTs so that my wife doesn't like kill me for leaving her with the kids all the time. S31X says he hopes Terminators stay good for a while. I think Terminators are going to be good for the next 6 months. I mean, Terminators weren't bad before, but I think they're doubly good now. I'm new to Discord. In the video description, there's a link that should take you straight into the Blood Angels Commander Discord. That's what you should be looking for. What unit am I converting him to? I'm just making him a Blood Angels Hellbreak, essentially. So he's not going to be... Like, if I play him, he's going to be a Blood Angels Hellbreak. Because I'm trying to think what I'm going to run. Because I've got the GT in March, and I kind of want to win the GT. I really want to win it. I don't know if I can. I mean, Gav's there again, and Gav's in. I mean, Gav at this event this weekend, he did like 5 games, and I think his lowest was 98 points. I don't know what Gav's running at that GT though. I've heard so many people saying Blood Angels benefited from Arcs of Omen. I think people think that like a free Melthagun or a free Infernal Pistol is good. That's probably what people think in reality. I think Armor of Contempt was probably more useful for us, because Armor of Contempt made 2 of our most powerful units like a lot more viable, right? Like Death Company became more viable because you just add like 20% more survivability. And Sanguinary Guard became a lot more viable because if you put them, well, against -1, you're just saving on 2s, so like on a good day you just don't roll any 1s. People would like a revival of Sanguinius. Hello for Warlandani. Hello Warlandani, thank you so much for tuning in. You caught me at the end of my stream. It's like just past midnight and I am exhausted. But guess what? I did win a Warhammer tournament this weekend, so that was pretty cool. This was the Scottish Takeover. It was a team event, but we did finish first. So yeah, I was pretty pleased. It's the first, you know, I've been wanting to win an event all year. I came 3rd in another event this year, in a solo event, but this is the first win. So this is, well, I say all year. I wanted to win an event last year. I would like to win a GT this year. The difference between a solo event and team event though is I didn't feel any pressure in the team event, honestly, which was nice, because when I was at a GT last year, or I think it was the year before when I went 4-0, yeah, it was like November 21. I went 4-0 at a GT, and I was playing on the top table to win the event, and it was actually the first time I ever played on a top table at a GT before. But like, I probably just was... I was nervous because I knew if I won the game, I won the GT. And also, I kind of wanted to win it just to prove that I'm not a chump at 40k, I guess. Whereas like at the team event today, I just didn't feel any pressure even on the final game, when it was like, if we win this game reasonably well, we can win the event. I guess because it's a team event, I just didn't feel any pressure, which was kind of nice. What do you guys think? You think that putting a wing, like, should I put it more central? Like, I could put it central like that. Central might make more sense. So you could put it like... It's really hard to show you with my broken arm. I could put it central, So it's like on the center, but then it looks a bit funny at the back. We put it round on the front. Then it looks a little bit Dark Angels, like the wing is. Probably need to get rid of that that Black Templars logo in the center there. Would probably be a good idea to try and get rid of that. Greg's rolling flesh tours this weekend. People that I think we will get some sort of Primarch style character for Blood Angels at some point in the future. If they're going to bring Primarchs back for other factions, it's only a matter of time they'll bring back Primarch for Blood Angels. It won't be Sanguinius because he's dead, but it'll be a resurrection, or it'll be a version of him from the Warp, or it'll be something. If every other Space Marine faction has like a big bad unit, and they have been doing that in terms of like all the Chaos, you know, like we're getting Chaos Primarchs left, right, and center now. There's like 4 of them, and there's only 1 Loyalist Primarch. I think they'll bring it back. You prefer Central? That's what I was thinking. We might go Central on this. Dip it in boiling water and shape it. I didn't know you could dip this shit in boiling water, actually. I thought you could only really do that with resin. I mean, this is just actually plastic. So it's Old Dante. Yeah, I mean, it might be Old Dante. That's very true. Do you know what? I just realized this whole time that I didn't put my chat up on the screen. I'm sorry. If I don't have chat on the stream, someone needs to shout at me. Like I said, I was very tired. Playing 5 games of Warhammer in a weekend I was gonna say it kills me. It doesn't kill me. Just my old brain. My old brain. Right, I'm gonna find a Death Company shoulder pad for his other shoulder, I think. Bringing Sanguinius back lessens his sacrifice. We don't actually know what his sacrifice is yet, Turkey, right? Because the new book is coming out. And who knows what's going to actually, like... The new book is out very, very soon. I actually thought it might be up for pre-order next weekend. Because they talked about it in, like, December. So I'm guessing the pre-order is going to be... pre-order is probably going to be within the next month or so, right? I can honestly see the Sanguinor. Yeah, the Sanguinor could get reborn. He doesn't get any play at the moment. He isn't competitive at all. Curl it to fit the shoulder with a heat gun. Well, I don't have a hairdryer in here. And it's pretty late at night, so probably putting the hairdryer on would wake my kid up. But I'll try that. I mean, I could easily peel it off if you think it would bend. Has anyone done that? Has anyone actually bent this Games Workshop plastic with a hairdryer? Is that easy to do? This is why the Sanguinor is terrible fluff. What do you mean terrible fluff? Mike is running successors. He likes BH and Whirlwind of Rage. What's BH? Born Heroes. That's +1 to hit when you charge. Is it +1 to hit when you charge? I can't remember. CP does not defeat new Aggron. I haven't really seen... Are Aggron's full rules out now? I did the early preview video on him, but I never actually caught up on... I must have been distracted by Arcs of Omen coming out. That's why I think that, like, yes, Terminators got better. Yes, Blade Guard Veterans got better. Do we still want like jump units with Thunder Hammers? I kind of think so. Like, I really think so. So that's my, like, that's my takeaway. It's like, we want some jump units because we need the strength and speed those jump units have. Like, I think that's really critically important to Blood Angels. Not that I dislike Terminators, I actually do like them. I like Blade Guard as well, and I think the Impulsor can help out the Blade Guard a lot. I think before, 135 points, I think an Impulsor was kind of crazy. I think now at 100 points, like, I had a game at the event where in turn 1 the opponent killed the Impulsor. That's it. That's all they killed. I think it killed one Blade Guard when it exploded, but that's fine. I can resurrect the Blade Guard. So, like, if you're playing a game and in turn 1 all you lose is your Impulsor, to me that felt like a giant win. I'm like, I'd happily let you get all your turn 1 shooting done and you kill my Impulsor. You know, like, that, if that's all you're killing, that feels like a win to me. You know, I had other games at this event where, well, maybe not even just this event, where I've lost a lot more than just an Impulsor's worth of stuff, you know? Alpha Strike Forlorn Fury Death Company Hammers is too valuable to drop. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that. If you have a Chapter Master and you're running a Priest, then there is definitely something to say about that Thunderhammer Alpha Strike potential is very valuable. I think there's no two ways to yeah, I think there's no way to. I think at this event I actually only went first twice, and one of the times I went first was Abandoned Sanctuaries, which you can't Forlorn Fury on. So I don't have the greatest event for first turns, but yeah, I think there is definitely an argument to be had that First Gun Death Company charge to surprise the opponent or put them on the back foot has a lot of value, and as much as I like the idea of more Terminators, more Blade Guard, and do you know what, I still do like Sanguinary Guard. Like, I genuinely like them. I like that the Infernal Pistols are free. I like the Power Fists being free. They work well into anything except that it's -1 damage, right? Or even maybe like Knights. I feel like if you come up against Knights, 2 damage weapons, even though they get a lot of attacks, like if you come into like a 24 wound Knight, you need a lot of luck with Sanguinary Guard to kill a 24 wound Knight in a single turn. A lot of rerolls, you probably still need a lot of luck. Aren't Tornadoes still a bit point efficient? They're a lot better now. Because I guess you used to have to pay like 15 points for the Assault Cannon, right? Now you pay nothing for it, and you're just the cost of an old land speeder. Speeders to me haven't changed, because usually when the enemies target speeders, they kill them straight away, right? It's just like a toughness 6 vehicle, or yeah, toughness 6 vehicle with 6 wounds for a land speeder. So when enemies target a land speeder, it's dead anyway. Like, you know, a single multi-melta shot killed it before, a single multi-melta shot kills it now. Usually a single D3+3 shot kills it. So like, for me, speeders don't really feel like they've changed. If you wanted to give a unit of Hellburns to support your Blood Angel spot martial tradition, probably Monster Hunter, Chrono's saying, because Monster Hunter is reroll all hits again, or no, it's not reroll all hits, sorry, it's +1. It's +1 to hit monsters and vehicles, I believe. So if you think most of the time your Helverns are going to be shooting bigger, nastier enemies, then that just basically means they're going to hit on 2s. It's a bunch of autocannons. Is it Hunters of Beasts? Did I say Monster Hunter? I'm gonna, like, I was planning to stream at midnight. It's like 20 past. Kind of lost track of time a little bit, or yeah, maybe a little bit. Got the book right here. Let me just. Before or after the Crusade stuff? They never. I really hate how the Crusade, like, just get the Crusade stuff somewhere else in the book. I think it's just after this stuff, isn't it? No, maybe not. Here it is. Is it here? You paid 30 shoulder pads tonight, Chris. No problem. You're more than welcome. Hunter of Beasts. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I said Monster Hunter. Each time the martial tradition makes an attack against monster or vehicles, add 1 to the attack hit roll. So you're hitting monsters and vehicles on 2s. Each time attack is made against Titanic, add 1 to the damage roll. So if you are fighting something that's Titanic, you are doing like 4 damage with those autocannons. And that's all. So what's the Helvern's weapon again? So your autocannons against vehicles become hitting on 2s, heavy 2d3, strength 7, minus 2, 3, and against Titanic they become 7, minus 2, 4. I guess your metal guns get the same +1 damage against Titanic. Yeah, I think that's the best one. And yeah, maybe forces you to shoot monsters and vehicles, but typically if you need fire support as a Blood Angel, it's usually to deal with vehicles, right? Maybe monsters not so much, but vehicles, yes, maybe. I mean, unless you're playing Tau, because then everything's infantry, but yeah, for the most part, I feel like that's the best one for Helverns. I like the last of their line. God damn it, what does that do, Joe? I'm not trying to find that damn page again. I'm going to bed. I got work in the morning. The only good thing about Dante is the CP. I don't think we'll see Riptide Resurgence because I don't think they get enough rerolls. I think broadsides. I think the mortal wounds that broadsides do probably make up for the Riptides. I mean, Riptides are better. Reroll hits against 6 or more enemies. Okay, that's cool as well, Joe. Yeah, I would just take Monster Hunter personally because I feel like usually it's vehicles that we need to deal with as a Blood Angels player. Vehicles that are going to shoot off our infantry as we try and get them across the board. Yeah, so my plan this week then is I'm going to break down a bunch of the games. I took photos of all the games that I played at this event, and I guess I'll break down my list, and I'll maybe make 1 or 2 videos, so keep an eye out for that. I might be live on Wednesday night for a game against Andrew, Might use the list that I played this weekend, because I don't think I've played it on stream, so at least people could see it in action. And then I think Andrew might bring Iron Hands, so we might be able to see that. So yeah, okay, I'm going to take off. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I enjoyed it anyway. Thank you for all the congratulations and super chats and everything. Yeah. And then I think next week we'll get back to the Army List show on Sunday nights. And I think we've got a new podcast episode coming out this Thursday as well. We did actually just hit 1,000 subscribers on the podcast, so thank you for that. That's super cool. And yeah, I'll probably stream on Saturday. I'll probably do painting on Saturday night or something, and we'll do painting on Saturday night. We'll start doing the Army List show on Sunday again. Courier's asking, what does an ARCs list look like? Well, tune in next Sunday. It'll be about 9:30 UK time, and we'll go over some Arcs of Omen lists. If you've made an Arcs of Omen list and you want to submit it for the Army List show next Sunday, please go ahead and do that. You can submit it over in the community tab. A bunch of people actually have already submitted some lists, so yeah, go ahead and submit your lists and we'll review them on stream and everyone can talk about them and we can dig into them. And I'm going to try and build a new Arcs of Omen list. I thought my tournament list was okay, but I'm probably actually going to use a lot of your guys' lists as inspiration, because I think I want to bring in some Terminators. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet. Oh, and I got lots to talk about this week about the event, so I'll fill you guys all in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Actually, it's been a lot. I've been trying to win a Warhammer tournament for like 3 years, so I finally did it. So yeah, onwards and upwards. Have a great week. I'll see you guys sometime. Peace.